It's finally here, Jets fans. The 2025 season is officially underway. As of course, Thursday Night Football kicked off last night with the the Eagles and the Cowboys. I guess that lightning delay threw me off a little bit too. Joining us here is the great Nick Shine from the Nick Shine Show. He's going to help us preview Jets and Steelers and what promises to be a great matchup. You can always follow and subscribe to our channel on YouTube and wherever podcasts available. And of course, you can always check out Nick on his YouTube channel and all his different links. Nick, great to have you. Excited for the regular season kickoff. Let's go, baby.
That's it, man. We're getting close. What are we? We are exactly 50 hours away from kickoff, man. Can't wait. I had the countdown on for several weeks.
So, I know.
We're getting close.
It gets to the point, too, where especially after now with this 2-week gap in the preseason, it's this anticipation. We've talked about this at nauseum. We've talked about Aaron Rodgers' return at nauseum. But, of course, it's the New York Jets. And, again, for guys who are joining us in the live stream, super chat to jump to the front of the line. Get your questions in for me and Nick. But we'll start it off a little bit off the beaten path here. We'll talk about some of that came up earlier this week, obviously, and it's the biggest news with the Jets. And that's Elijah Vera Tucker's injury. Again, this came seemingly out of nowhere. It's kind of put a little bit of a wet blanket on this team even before the season because they get through training camp, no big injuries. They get through the preseason, no big injuries. And then on a random Wednesday, as you were telling me, you're getting ready for Jake Asman's show, and 15 minutes before you get the news, oh, AVT might be out for the season. It's like, of course, this just comes out of nowhere. I'd love your thoughts on AVT, his future with the Jets, and how you would look to possibly fill in that role, which, again, is a big hole at right guard right now.
I mean, you're looking at a guy who, in his 4 years, played 16, 5, 7, 15, and now 0 games.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a future with the Jets. And it's sad because it's the worst case scenario for him, right? And for us. You know, he never got a chance to play in this scheme. He never got a chance to play with better offensive line coach. I'll focus on him first, and then I'll get into the rest of it. This is a guy who always had questions about his health. Never in college, but he missed with the tricep already, the Achilles, and now another tricep. I don't think there's any way. And this was, for people saying, give him a prove-it deal. This was his prove-it deal, in my opinion. This was his, let me show them what I can do. Let me show them that I can stay healthy. Let me show myself here. And to have it ripped away from him before he even gets to play a snap. And I've said this on my show. Braylon Allen running behind Elijah Vera Tucker and Membu was going to be our Jordan fadeaway. It was going to be unstoppable. That, to me, was going to set everything else up that the Jets want to do on offense. That would lead to Fields RPOs. That would lead to swing passes to Brees and when they have the joint, pony package. Everything was going to go off of that. Everything we did. The Giants game, 14-play drive. Everything was right up the middle.
And that 3rd and 8 play. Yeah, the 3rd and 8 play. They basically ran the ball on 3rd and 8. Who runs on 3rd and 8? But they got behind AVT, and they got 8 yards out of it. And even if they got 7, you feel confident you can go for it on 4th and short.
Yeah. To have it taken away from him, it hurts. I'm not going to lie. It hurts. It hurts for him. It hurts for us. And it hurts for Membu because having that veteran who's also kicked out and played tackle next to you in every meeting, on the bench, every rep, every practice rep, every game rep, he can go back and say, hey, on this, if he's lined up here, you might want to do this. You might want to do this. If we see this, this is how we're going to. You're missing that now. And now you have Tittman, who's essentially relearning how to play a guard, who's only played 4 starts there. He's learning on the fly, kind of, as Membu is. So that can also impact us. But I think going into this season, I was a big believer of you only sign one of Simpson or AVT, and then you draft another guy. And now I don't know how you could put a contract in front of AVT. A great guy, leader, was voted captain, and never gets to experience it. So I don't know if with the 3rd season-ending injury out of 5 years, you even contemplate a contract.
I mean, the only thing I can think of, and, listening to Connor and Zach Rosenblatt last night, they think that this actually increases the chances of AVT coming back. I do think a 1-year prove-it deal is possible. The hard part is we've seen the guard market in free agency. There's always a bad team with a bunch of money that's going to look at it and go, maybe if we can just get him front load a 2-year contract, which is basic, we'll give him a 4 or 5 year deal, but it's all fully guaranteed the first 2 years. We'll take a shot on him. I do think he could possibly come back on a 1-year deal, but if I'm the Jets, I agree with you. I think one of the things you have to do right now is start talking to John Simpson so you can at least lock him in and lock him down for the future, because I've talked about this on my show. I've always been curious how this coaching staff viewed Tippmann, because it's a full new staff. Did they view him more of a guard and a center? And weirdly, I kind of get the feeling they view him long-term as a guard, but more than a center. Part of it too could be his height, the leverage he can get because he's 6'6". It's harder as a center. I've loved the athleticism. I still remember him kicking out that big Breece Hall run against Denver a couple years ago when he was moving to guard. So I don't necessarily think it's a huge necessarily drop off at the guard position, but I agree with you moving Myers to center, where Myers can play in the NFL, but you want a guy that can really generate that great push up front, and he hasn't shown the ability to do that, which again is a bit scary. And I'm very curious how the Jets could potentially address this. I mean, one guy I'm keeping an eye on, Asapol, the guy they brought in from Kansas City. He's someone that they were looking to draft as a top 30 visit. Could he maybe eventually be a spot starter, a tackle? He's never played guard. Is he someone that maybe they could have him work out during the season at the guard position? There's a couple different ways they can go. One guy I'd keep an eye on, and I know he hasn't had a great career so far, is Cole Strange. He's on the Browns practice squad. I thought he was overdrafted by the Patriots. I felt he was a third-round player, but he's played in the NFL, can play center, can play guard. Even as a depth piece, I think he's someone the Jets could explore. What are some of the options that you think the Jets could look at to address this hole on the offensive line?
Well, how many Cole Stranges are out there, right? Like you got with the Giants, you got Evan Neal. You got guys who were drafted highly, didn't work out, maybe a positional change. We lived that firsthand with Mekhi Becton, right? We drafted a tackle high, didn't work out, went somewhere else, played guard, and has done well for himself at guard. So it's a day and era now where if you can have big guys who can just – I remember a playoff game last year. I think it was against the Rams. Barkley had a long run. Becton doubled the tackle and then punched the linebacker, and the linebacker did a back tumble saw, and Barkley took it right through that gap, wide open, never got touched, and took it the distance. Now, I'm not saying we're going to find somebody who can come in and play at that level, but there's an Evan Neal. There's a Cole Strange. How many other guys around the league, maybe the coaches, maybe they hired a new staff, scheme change. They don't fit it. They've got beat out by another guy. There's going to be guys available. Now, they're not going to be sexy. They're not going to be AVT's level. But if you can get someone in there who can be a powerhouse if needed, I'm okay with that, you know. But what I really believe, if Tippmann can play guard and play guard well, I think a backup center is what you're now looking for. Because if something happens to Myers, I don't want to move Tippmann, who's now center 2, guard 1, right? It's the opposite. You know, he was center 1 and guard 2. Because I was of the belief that if anything happened to anyone on the line, Myers was your 6th man, Tippmann would go to guard, and if needed, AVT would go to tackle. So we're at the point now where you might be looking at finding someone who can come in and be center, because you got to look at if you're looking at your best 5, right? Are you better with another center and Tippmann at guard, or are you better with Tippmann back to center and Newman at guard? And something I don't want to do is constantly toy with Tippmann.
Right.
If you're going to let him ride out the season at guard, let him ride out the season at guard. Let's see what we got, because he's in year 3. You know, if he goes and plays phenomenal, you might want to lock him up early before he gets another year at guard. You might want to throw him an extension after this season. So there's a lot of questions, and we could place a lot of faith in Muji, even though it's early, because the main thing he did with the defensive tackles, identified a weakness, addressed the weakness, and he did it quick and decisively. He said, okay, this ain't enough. We got to get more.
Yeah.
You see the Steelers come in. Steelers aren't the greatest run defense. If Myers and Tippmann can really get something going as that game goes on, you might not want to make a move. But I would not be surprised if Monday, Tuesday next week, you hear names coming in for tryouts and workouts for the offensive line.
I do think that is a very good point, especially with the offensive line. And like you said, and I think this is a good transition to the preview for the Steelers game, is this is going to have to be a game where if the Jets win, they have to be in short and manageable. They cannot be like last year, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 2nd and 8. It's like they have to get, okay, it's 2nd and 7. Okay, it's 2nd and 6. And if they get near midfield, they have nothing to lose this year. I would go for, if it's under 4-2 with this offense and with these running backs and with this quarterback, I'm going for it. But I think the big battle in this game, like we've talked about, is going to be the Jets O-line versus the Steelers. And I think you can tack the Steelers in the middle. The problem is they have great edges. And let's face it, you have Armand Membu, who I think is a talented player, but he's going to take his lumps this year. And I've urged Jet fans to be patient because we saw it with Andrew Thomas across town. He had a tough rookie year, but he developed into one of the best tackles in football. And I even say Olu, you have to give a little bit of a break. Olu, let's face it, I still consider him a rookie. He hasn't played in double-digit games in the NFL yet. He still is learning. And while I do think he will be a solid left tackle, I still think you're going to see some warts from him. So I'm curious to see how the Jets are going to attack the edges, how much they keep Mason Taylor and Ruckert into chip on those edges, especially with Watt. But look, I think the biggest matchup is, can the Jets and this offensive line, they don't have to be great, but they have to be good enough in the run game where we're getting 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6s, and just keeping the Steelers defense on the field.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed with everything that you just said. And what you can do in 3rd and 3 is you can do Fields RPO. You have the threat of the run or the pass. If you're 3rd and 8 and longer, which is where we want to keep Rodgers, right? We don't want him having those quick passes, but we'll get into that shortly. In terms of the offense, running the ball successfully, being unpredictable, dominating with the run, the time of possession, keeping your defense fresh, are all my major keys to the game. Now, we know Rodgers from last year. Not a lot of plays, likes to milk the clock. We'll run the play clock down. We saw it firsthand.
And burn timeouts.
Yeah. And sometimes not even snap the damn ball. Yeah. But when you're looking at how do you finesse the Steelers, right? I wouldn't be surprised if this offensive line starts to impose their will. You see a little bit of an up-tempo. Maybe the muddle huddle, right? Where you're not letting them substitute. And if they do, you can try to catch them off guard. You got to play a mind game when you're playing an elite defense. You got to do something outside the box. You do not want to get to the line time and time again, and they're standing there. Defense is catching their breath. They're waiting for you. So I think a nice little wrinkle would, even if it's a run game, is to hurry up. All right, we get a first down, get back on the ball, do it again. Try to get them substitute and getting some of their bigger guys off the field to get a breath now that it's first down, and hit them again with a similar play. And when you can wear them down, let's not forget, our quarterback is a game breaker. He can take it the distance and run away from safeties and cornerbacks. So if you start smashing everyone up the middle, and they're committing to that, something we didn't see in the preseason because we weren't going to risk the hits, is Fields pulling the ball and going. And I am a big believer that after week 1, the New York Jets are going to be number 1 in the league in rushing attempts. Because with Braylon Allen up the middle, with Fields, with the RPO and designed runs and scrambles, you're probably looking at least 12 runs by Fields on top of what we're going to do as an offense. So I don't think it's crazy to say we might have 35 to 40 runs. If we have 35 runs a game, we're going to win because we're winning the time of possession. We're sustaining drives, and we're having manageable third downs. That's the key. You got to be in that third down situation, as you said, where the whole playbook is on the table. 3rd and 12? No.
Yeah.
Screen pass, right? Quarterback draw. Maybe try to get him scrambling up the middle. But it's very, very important to have good first downs. And now 2nd down, you can have a little fun where even if you're doing something, a quick screen to Arian Smith, let him use his speed and maybe try to get a few yards, get the 3rd and 2. Now you can have fun. And running games can be fun. Running games can be explosive. Running games can be dominant. I mean, there's nothing more demoralizing to a defense than giving up a 3rd and 2. You saw last night with the Cowboys, two plays, 2 third downs in a row. Push, first down.
Yep.
Guys roll their eyes, their shoulders shrink. It's demoralizing to get pushed around and dominated and give up yardage time and time again when your job is to stop it.
Right. And I think a great example playing off the Eagle-Cowboy game is the game clinching play by Jalen Hurts, where you saw the Cowboys blitz, which they rarely did last night, but they did have a spy out there, and Hurts is able to just avoid the pressure, rush up the middle, get the first down. Like, we know the Steelers love to blitz, and if they're showing those blitzes and they're playing man coverage, that means Fields can take off and run. If they're going to play zone, that means he can do a 1 read, 2 read, and then get the ball quickly. But I agree with you. The run game can be designed. I'm expecting a lot of jet sweeps. I'm expecting a lot of trying to stretch to the outside. One package I think we're going to see a lot of is Breece Hall lining up in the slot or as a wide receiver. And I can see at least 2 or 3 times a game him coming into the backfield on a motion and having the ball snapped. And now the defense has to be like, okay, is Fields keeping? Is Hall getting the ball? If Allen or another running back, are they getting the ball? And that's 3 options before, this could be a play action pass or a quick slant hitter to Garrett Wilson over the middle of the field. So I think one of the big things I'm really interested to is because the preseason's very vanilla. They're not going to tip their hand. I'm very curious how the Jets are going to use their pass catchers. And I use that term openly because let's face it, the Jets outside Garrett don't have a great receiving core. I'm curious to see how many tight ends they use on the field. Where do they line up the tight ends? Do they line up Mason Taylor more on the outside than as an inline tight end? Do they line Breece Hall up a lot? I can see, be honest, I can see a world where Breece Hall gets more targets as a receiver this year than he does attempts as a running back. So I think it's going to be interesting just to see the roles that each of these players have, because it's clear, yes, we didn't love Arian Smith necessarily when he came out draft night, but it's clear that they have a plan, that they know how to use him, unlike the last coaching staff where we'll draft Malachi Corley, we'll draft him high, and then we'll talk about him like he's the second coming of a wide receiver, but we don't have a plan for him.
Yeah, they brought in a money launderer and an embezzler. That's his memories, and as we said before, so 3 catches, 3 jerseys. So if he has a big career, man, they're going to have to start adding 3 digits to jerseys. But when one of the and I've coached football, so one of the plays that I want to see, or the packages that I want to see are Braylon and Breece out there together. And then you get that RPO going with Braylon Allen. And then you get shotgun with both running backs next to them. You give it to Braylon. Braylon takes it off tackle. Give it to Braylon. Braylon takes it up the middle. Then you pull it and you run with Fields. And then you pull it, you send Breece in motion behind and you throw a swing pass to Breece. A big part of this offense against the Steelers tomorrow or Sunday should be swing passes to Breece, getting Breece in the open field one-on-one with a safety or a middle linebacker. If they're playing man, I want to see that time and time again. Now, Breece might lead us in catches this week, on top of the targets. Breece is the guy who is a queen on the chessboard in a passing game. You want him on a linebacker. You want him on a safety. You want him in the open field one-on-one. We've seen him do great things. We saw it last year. Little swing pass to Breece. He takes it in Pittsburgh all the way down to like the 1-yard line. This is a guy who might be 3rd in rushing yards with us because I have Braylon and Justin both going for 1,000.
Yeah,
I got Braylon at 11, Fields just over 1,000, and I got Breece just under 900. But Breece's impact is really going to be felt as an all-around weapon. And if you get 3rd and 5, I mean, which one of us wouldn't want to see Breece in the open field one-on-one with a linebacker? So he hasn't had the offensive line for the most part as a runner to get out into the open field. But his ability to catch and maneuver, I'm designing a million plays for him to get out there into the flat. I'll have Beck, a play that I'm dreaming of. Beck, Braylon, and Breece are all together. Beck motions over behind TJ Watt as a tight end. They chip. Now Breece swings out to that side. They throw it. Now the next time, you fake it, you come back the other way with a screen to Braylon. You hit him with a screen on the backside and let Braylon Allen go. That's the beauty of having 2 studs in the backfield. And when you sustain drives, something we haven't done a lot, and you commit to running the ball, something we haven't done a lot, there's layers to plays in your run game as well there is in your pass game. And when you commit to the run, you can open up your passing off of that. Because last year, we were so predictable. When your quarterback's out there doing all these moves till 1 second on the play clock, everyone knows it's a pass.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes up to the line and he's just getting lined up, everyone knows it's a run. It's easy to play defense in the NFL when you know what's coming. Now, what we need to do is get those linebackers taking that false step to the side. We need to get them going the wrong way, and that's when we can gash them with all three of these runners. And I'm looking forward to watching a team with an NFL offense, something we haven't had the luxury of doing in a very long time. Even last year, people want to crap on the coordinators. We don't know the plays they were calling because everything was changed at the line. You can't get in a rhythm as a play caller if you just say run play A, and he just makes all of his changes. Run play B, you never see it. There's a game plan, and it's really going to be fun to watch. Run the play, get to the huddle, call the play, get to the line, run that play. You're going to see a better coaching staff because you're going to see the plays running as designed and as called, not tweaking it to the quarterback's favorite route.
Right. And I'm going to talk about why I'm excited about this offensive coach staff. But you brought up a great point too, which especially with the offensive coordinators, especially after Hackett got fired, I always kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt because Aaron's calling those plays. And one of the best examples, and I appreciate it because it was Mark Sanchez that called it out on a broadcast, was there was a play where it was an RPO. And it was an option to Brees. If he had stuck it in Brees's gut, he's going to go 9 yards and be 2nd and 1. But instead, Aaron takes the ball, tries to go for a short completion, and it bounces. But Mark Sanchez in the booth brought up the great point. He's like, that's really just an easy percentage so he can improve his completion percentage. And the benefit to that would have been, Aaron's percentage went up, but they only gained 1 or 2 yards as opposed to Brees moving the ball forward. But I think one thing I'm excited about Engstrom, and I think Green Bay was one of the best examples in the preseason. You talked about Beck in that last segment, the play where they designed Beck coming through the backfield and having him sit down in the linebackers and catching that pass in the preseason. It's clear to me that Tanner Engstrom, he is scheming guys open, or he is designing plays to scheme guys into the right position where for the longest time, it feels like whoever was on this offensive staff was just hoping that whoever the Jets had was just a better player and can just beat their man and not necessarily have to scheme them open. All the way going back from Gase. That's actually a good question. I can't remember an offensive coordinator where I go back and I'm like, wow, they did an excellent job scheming up this team or scheming guys open. It's always kind of been, well, the play call wasn't great, or they didn't really have a plan. It's just like it was more hope than a plan, which unfortunately I think is a big reason why we haven't been to the playoffs in over a decade.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're sitting because I'm going to say this word, and I hope all Jets fans are sitting and you're not driving when I say it. We have a very strong possibility of seeing innovation, even in the run game. When you watch Detroit's passing attack, it was guys downfield open all the time. Everyone that is a part of this scheme, yes, even Alan Lazard, who I wanted cut and thought he would be after the roster. And I don't think Lazard makes the full season. I really, truly don't.
Yeah, I think he'll end in black and yellow somewhere at some point.
Let him leave the stadium on the bus with them Monday. I don't care. Bring Brandon Smith up.
Or Sunday night, after the game.
Yeah, let him just go. Trade him on Monday. Let him leave the stadium with them. Just say done deal after the game, whatever. Bring in Brandon Smith. If he can block, why do we need Lazard? He's a better pass catcher than Lazard. But everyone has a purpose. Garrett's your Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. Arian Smith is your burner. And who had Arian Smith's first 2 catches, even in preseason game, being between the numbers in the middle of the field? None of us had that, right? So you're seeing that they found someone whose speed can open up and do a lot of things. Now, you can run bubble screens. You can run quick slants with that speed. You can get him over the top with that speed. That opens it up for your rookie tight end, Mason Taylor. That opens it up for a veteran like Josh Reynolds. You see this dagger concept, which is one of my favorite concepts. You take Arian Smith in the slot and you run them straight at the safety. If they're in man, that safety and someone else is going to have to come back. That's when Garrett can do like a 10-yard in, and he's great. He's twitchy. He's freaky with his feet. You get him on a 10-yard in, it should be wide open. Now, if the safety jumps, you throw it over the top to Arian Smith. It's a simple read. It works. And if you have the speed to run it and you respect the over-the-top speed. Last year, I don't remember us throwing the ball over the top very often. We did it twice in Jacksonville. One Devontae caught, one he just missed. That was the only time I remember us trying to take the top off of the defense. And it was against the 32nd ranked defense. And Jets fans went nuts that we were finally clicking and we scored 30 points in a game. And I was like, hold up. It's a 32nd ranked defense. Let's put this in perspective here. But the point is, if you can be safety in the NFL and you have to worry about getting beat and coming up, you're going to hesitate a bit. If you could play football downhill knowing everything's going to be in front of you, it takes away all those middle routes. So the speed that we have now, there's a purpose for Arian Smith. And I think the coaching staff will design that. There's a purpose in drafting Mason Taylor. There's a purpose. So we're coaching, we're drafting, we're play designing, and we will be play calling with a purpose. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, good to see Tony again, guys. Super chat jump to the front of the line. Chat's open if you want to have a question for me or Nick. And we are going to shift to the defense and arguably what will be the most nauseating talking point for basically the entire weekend. And that's Aaron Rodgers versus this Jets defense. Now, I'll talk about the Jets defense and what I think are some of the keys. But my biggest thing with Aaron Rodgers is I'm not completely upset with him. I know a lot of Jet fans have strong emotions. I'm at the point I don't care. Like, I'm just past it. It's a new chapter. I know people are upset with how Aaron Glenn handled it. Again, they just needed a fresh start. I think Aaron needed a fresh start. And here's the thing I will say. I think that this is the best opportunity if the Jets were playing the Steelers this year to beat them, because this reminds me so much of last year with San Francisco. Aaron didn't play a single game in the preseason. I understand he played a full season last year, which is different than the Achilles. I just get the feeling, especially with all the new moving pieces on that offensive line, all the new pieces in that offense, I really think the Steelers offense is going to struggle. Like, this to me is going to be a rock fight game. It's going to be 17-14, 20-17, not a lot of high scoring. But for Aaron Rodgers, I think the biggest thing, if he's going to beat the Jets, is he has to show the ability to use his legs, and not necessarily to run, but just to avoid pressure. And I'm very curious how he's going to look this season, especially with his mobility. But before we get into some of the Jets' defensive keys, I would love to get your 2 cents on Mr. A.A.Rod, Mr. Rodgers.
Well, if I'm Steve Wilkes, I'm going into my Jets 86 yearbook here. I know I can't see with the green.
Yeah, there we go.
Play call, blitz, more blitz. I think you're going to see. I think, you know how I said we're going to be the top rushing team at the temps.
Mm-hmm.
There's always these analytics that come out, percentage of blitz. I think you're going to see this team run blitz like crazy because you want to have that 3rd and long. You know, and we saw it in the preseason. And in the preseason is where you use your vanilla plays, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw Barnes run blitz, tackle in the backfield. We saw Cisco. We saw Malachi Moore. These blitzes are the vanilla part of the playbook, dude. Right? Like, that's got to be exciting, because how frustrated were we watching a 4-man line? They just double the nose, bump off, 5-yard run, first down. So with Rodgers, listen, the offensive line is not good. Quinnen Williams should have a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Will McDonald, I have going for a sack a game this year. Will McDonald is the guy that you blitz Sherwood or Quincy. You want to free him up. Broderick Jones, you know, I'm old enough to remember Jets Twitter losing their minds because Bill Belichick effed the Jets by trading to the Steelers, who came up and took Broderick Jones ahead of us. How many people would want Broderick Jones on Sunday instead of Will McDonald? I'll take Will McDonald. How about you?
I'll take that, and every other Sunday. So
yeah.
Look, like I do remember that because I do so much draft content on this channel. Like, people were losing their minds of Broderick Jones, and even at the time, I'm like, I like the prospect, but I don't necessarily think he's a lock and tackle. Like, this to me was a little bit overhyped.
And I'm a
but
Georgia guy.
yeah.
I'm a Georgia guy, and I'm like, we did not lose a great prospect here. So
Georgia making a nice hot Tua meme last night too. Jalen Carter.
Oh, Jalen Carter. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I work 2:30 to 11. Obviously, my phone. I had to silence Twitter because I couldn't even listen. It was bleep, bleep, bleep. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, oh, he spit. I'm like, all right, let me mute Twitter now because it's gonna go ballistic. So here's how you defeat Rodgers. We know firsthand from watching it, Rodgers loves his hot read.
Mm-hmm.
He loves his quick little passes to the tight ends, 2 yards turn, trying to get you in that window. If the Jets can eliminate that, if they can design their coverage, disguise their coverages, maybe even Will McDonald dropping into pass coverage here and there to take away that hot read, right? That's my big take. Will McDonald gets an interception. That's my hot take for the week. Like, if you told me, give me the most outlandish thing that you think will happen, Will McDonald drops back, gets an interception.
And Jets tour will still melt because Sauce won't have had an interception.
Yeah, I don't see. That's something that I know fans go crazy about it. I'm a team guy. I don't own any jerseys. A friend of mine moved away, and when he moved away, he's a Raider fan, but he had won a Joe Namath jersey. It hangs in my closet. I don't wear jerseys. Everything I have is team apparel. I don't care who does it. I don't care if we have to do a tush push, 12 plays in a row to score. I don't care if we run a fake punt and the punter runs it in. I just care about the team. I don't care about the statistics.
Yeah.
I had a tweet yesterday. I don't care about the stats. I don't care about style points. Just win this effing game by any means necessary. If that means you're disguising and trying to trick a savvy veteran like Rodgers and it works, hey, guess what, Rich? We got a coaching staff.
Yeah.
If you're confusing Aaron Rodgers and making him throw an interception, you've done it. But now here's the beauty of it. If you take away the hot reads continuously while blitzing, that's where you see one of these. Oh, shit. Turn, get leveled because the hot read was taken away. And when you're sending that pressure from all over the field, if you eliminate the hot read, we know he doesn't want to throw a pick. He'll take the hit. Yeah. And the goal is to hit him time and time again. And you run blitz on the early downs to keep third down longer. You don't want him at 3rd and 3, right? We know it's a quick little dink to one of the tight ends, Freiermuth or Jonnu Smith. They're going to turn it up, get a couple yards, push that out of bounds, whatever. But now if it's 3rd and 8 and you're going into your playbook and your Wilkes, you can have some fun. And I love defense. You know, I've been a head coach, but defense was my thing. I ran the defense. You can have more fun, and you can get into that playbook, and you can be more exotic is the word that we always hear, right? Mm-hmm. When it's in your favor. Now, Connor Hughes yesterday had a great comment. His show with him and Zach. They do a segment at the end. The Jets win if, the Jets lose if. He said the Jets lose if, analytically, their 3rd and 6s they average more than 3rd and 6. But also, the same thing, if we can keep Rodgers in that scenario, I think the game favors us because we're going to be aggressive. It's going to be an onslaught. Like, I really believe it's going to be an onslaught. Michael Carter blitzing off the edge, the safeties blitzing, Sherwood and Quincy blitzing. I think we're going to bring pressure as much as we can. You want to pay Sauce? Go cover Metcalf.
Yeah. And
just do something we've been dying for, right? I want that more than I want the interception. Because if you do that, the interceptions will come. They're not going to come when you're 7 yards back off the line and they're throwing passes in front of you and you're chasing down to get a quick slant. When you're on the man face to face from the time the ball snapped, you're more than likely in the area where the ball's coming immediately. And then that's when you can make plays. But you want to be that top dog? Go get him. Real quick, just to give you a couple of breaking news things.
Oh, we got some
Aaron
breaking
Glenn
news.
Is at the mic right now, and he's non-committal. Samini must have asked, and he replied, "Why would I tell you that? Why would I give a team a competitive advantage on knowing what we're doing about the O-line configuration?"
Right.
He also said,
Oh God, he gave the kiss of death. My guys had a really good week of practice.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Uh, Coming from the school of Dan Campbell and Peyton, he says mentally I'm aggressive, but I'm calculated. So I think Jets fans, we should expect to see some going for it on fourth downs. We saw it in the preseason already. I was a little disappointed we didn't go for it on the second fourth down on that drive. They threw the slant to Garrett that was behind him a little bit. He had the corner cooked, but he threw it a little behind, and the corner was able to gain ground. Yeah, he did say that. There was one other thing in the beginning. I lost. Oh, you covered it. Yeah, you said the practice was good.
Yeah.
So
Right.
he said that guys have flexibility on the
Yeah.
line, and it gives them the ability to maneuver guys around and not going too deep into the offensive line. He said, "Oh, here it is. He expects every player to be available for the game. Obviously, not Vera Tucker. Sauce Gardner is ready to go. Injury stems from an end zone collision in training camp. So with his fibula is much better than calf. It's
Mhm.
much better than Achilles. It's much better than a heel. A fibula is a bone. You got a bone bruise, basically, right? So you want that instead of the calf. We know what can happen if your calf is not in good shape.
And again, guys, super chat to jump to the front of the line. Your questions to come through in the comment section. Speaking with the D, I want to pick your brain on two things. The first thing is you mentioned it with Sauce traveling. I'm curious to see how much he travels with DK. That's been a talking point for years with the Jets. I know Aaron Glenn has hinted at it, but will it actually happen, or is it going to be one side of the field? I'm curious to see how much he travels with DK. And the other thing too that I don't think a lot of people are talking about is how much of the scheme are we going to see? I mean, we're used to the 4-3, 4-2-5 under Robert Saleh. I think we're going to see a lot more 3-4 looks or 3-3-5 hybrid looks than people are expecting, especially with Phillips. Don't forget, Phillips played the nose tackle position for Minnesota. I could see some packages too where Quinnen early downs, maybe even though it's a 3-4, is a jumbo defensive end on the outside playing on the tackle. I'm curious to see how they're going to play with this different scheme. Do you think we're going to see a healthy mixes of schemes and fronts from this defense? Because again, I think the last couple of years we know we were getting 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, maybe 3, 5 D backs playing a whole bunch of zone. If the front 4 doesn't get pressure, they're cooked.
Yeah, Vanilla's gone. We're gonna get a lot more. How many times did we see that? I mentioned earlier the 4-man D line just get you bump, you double the tackle, you
Mm-hmm.
scrape to the next level. It's an easy run. I'm looking forward to a 3rd and 2 where Phillips is your nose, Quinnen and Briggs are out there, Clemens and JJ, and you got a 5-man down line. And then you bring in 3 linebackers and you go 1 safety over the top. And you let Sauce and Stevens be on an island. And then now you're run blitzing with 8 in the box. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a lot of unique ways that you can coach and scheme and design to give the defense advantage. And I felt that a lot of games we were always reacting instead of causing the action. And I think that's the biggest script change you're going to see with the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to dictate the action. We're not going to be a responsive defense. We're going to be an aggressive, bring the pain, bring the pressure defense. You cannot give an NFL quarterback like Aaron Rodgers 2.5, 3.5 seconds to throw the ball. As great as I think our cornerbacks are, he'll find someone.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get there. You got to send extra guys. You got to disguise it. You got to be aggressive. You got to use different fronts. You got to do things that he might not expect. You got to try to play that chess match. You got to know, all right, we're going to show this for the first 20 seconds of the play clock. And when we get to 5, boom, we're changing to this. That would be something that would excite me.
Mm-hmm.
Is watching them burn timeouts early because the confusion that we're bringing to a 20-year veteran and a 20-year head coach, right? Like, confuse the heck out of them. And what are they doing? We didn't see this coming. What is this? How are we going to attack this? That would be something. Listen, we got 2 very good coordinators. Wilkes has been a head coach, long in the tooth, aggressive. Got fired basically from San Francisco for being too aggressive because Shanahan didn't want that. He wants his little
Right.
safe underneath defense. That's why he brought Salah back. And Angstrom and Turner, I think these are 2 really good innovative minds. Now, don't forget, Scott Turner's dad is Norv Turner, the
Yeah.
architect of the greatest rushing offense in NFL history, the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s. So you don't think that Norv Turner is talking to his son saying, hey, I see this. Let's draw up these plays. I emailed you and Tanner. Check these out. What do you guys think? You have that as a resource. This coaching staff is going to be the biggest change that we see, and it might not lead to a ton of wins, right? I think the quarterback play is in question, but I think it's going to be fans are going to look at one another and be like, oh, we got something.
Right.
We can add to this. If we can get the quarterback with what we're doing, not to look too far ahead. I know you said you're a draft guy. In quarterback, wide receiver, interior line, bang, bang, bang. Address those next year. Get this offense to an elite level. You almost had the line completed, but now we got to do a little more work on that. So I'm excited, man, because I believe in Aaron Glenn. I believe in Muji. I love that Woody Johnson got told by Glenn, in my belief, shut up. Let us handle this. You should not try to be the front of your organization. It only brings negativity. Let us run this show.
I'm so glad you brought up Woody, because I think there's a sign, and Jet fans are getting a little pissed on Twitter about this. Woody always dropping the uniforms during game week, and they haven't done it yet. So I think he's gotten the memo. I think that's another sign that this is a good thing, because I see Jets fans like, well, what jersey are we wearing for the opener? And I'm like, I really don't care as long as they win in it. But I also
the Jets teased that. Exactly what you just said. They posted a picture, and it was like, are we wearing these jerseys or are we not? Are we wearing them? It was like a tease, like they're playing into it. Listen, last year, Buffalo Jet fan had this tweet. I'll never forget it. I've referenced this 24 times through the offseason. The New York Jets had 74 people in the ticket office and social media department. They had 2 in player development. So
yeah, I think they've rightfully switched a lot of things up, which is good. Yeah. And look, I do think that here's my best description for the New York Jets. I think by the end of this season or halfway through the season, this is not going to be a team people are going to want to play on their schedule. They might look at the Jets as a win on the schedule, but they're going to look and be like, they're going to blitz us. They're going to hit us. As a quarterback, I'm going to get my teeth kicked in. And if you're a defensive player, you're like, they're just going to lean on us and beat us up physically. Like, we're going to have ice bags Sunday night, Monday. Like, I just don't think they're going to be a fun team that teams want to play, especially November, December. Gets cold. You have to be physical. Like, I still think the Jets, I still don't think this is the year they make the playoffs. But one thing I do think, and the national narrative drives me nuts. I think the Jets are going to be third in this division at the very least. They're going to finish in front of the Dolphins. I don't get why everyone's enamored with the Dolphins, because Tua is always injured. Their offensive line's terrible. I think they lost so many pieces, and it feels like Mike McDaniel's losing the team, because all the former Dolphins are basically saying, yeah, the leadership is terrible there, which, of course, is a reference to the head coach.
Yeah. And the Dolphins personify flash. There's no substance. I'm a big over substance, over flash, right? Tyreek Hill is flash. No offensive line is no substance. So, yes, do they have speed? Yes. Can McDaniel design guys to get open, get the ball out quick because he knows his quarterback might not be the best when he's got to go to multiple reads? Sure. But I think we're better than them. And I think we're better than New England. I really do. Top to bottom, I think we're better than New England. Coaching, I think we're better than New England. I like Vrabel. I wanted Vrabel. I'm not going to lie. I did want him. He was at the top of my list. Ben Johnson was up there, but I'll take his protege, right? I'll take his protege running our offense. I think Aaron Glenn did a really good job putting this staff together. And I think you're going to see everything that Glenn has been preaching from his first press conference, Rich, was what? We're going to coach. We're going to coach these guys up. You're calling out your top cornerback immediately and saying, we got some things we got to work on him with technique, with getting the ball. He's there. He's great in coverage. When you're going at your top guys on the roster and your top talents and calling them out, it sends a message to the room. Like, he's calling Sauce out. I got to get my game up. Coach, how can you help me? What am I doing wrong? Let's sit down in the offseason. Look at my film. Where am I messing up? Everyone can be coached up if you're going at your big guys. Quinnen, he said the same thing about Quinnen. A little different. We're going to put him in a different role. Quinnen came in a little lighter and a little better shape this year. So maybe he expects to play more, a higher percentage instead of the rotation. When you're coaching your top guys, everything rolls downhill, right?
Mm-hmm.
That goes down to everyone else. This team has a lot of good pieces in place. This team should get better as the season goes on.
Right.
I've been big on, you want to change the narrative, change the narrative. Win the game in Miami with an extra day off. The Jets haven't been able to win with extra time off, right? We've come out unprepared, down 14-0 very quickly. You got the bye week.
Yep.
Biggest turn of the whole season. After the bye, Cleveland comes in on Sunday. Then you go to New England on Thursday. If you be 3-5 at the bye, and then you go bang, bang, and win those 2 games in 5 days.
You're right there.
Yeah. And then you go to Baltimore, you probably get your teeth kicked in.
Yeah.
And Atlanta and Miami coming up here in late November. You want that. You go to Jacksonville and New Orleans. You want that. And then you got possibly your season with New England coming up here or down here.
Yeah.
And
I look at it too,
right.
The first, I actually would argue the first 5 games of the Jets schedule are the hardest, especially the first 4. Like if the team starts 1-3, I know a lot of fans are going to jump off the bandwagon at that point, be talking about the draft. But like the way I look at the schedule is you're playing Pittsburgh at home, but they were a playoff team. They're probably going to be a playoff team again. You have the Bills coming in. They're one of the Super Bowl favorites, even at home. Then you go, I think one game that not a lot of people talk about is going to Tampa. You're playing a 1:00 game in Tampa where it's going to be 100 degrees, 100% humidity. You're going to be wearing your dark uniforms. We already know that because they're wearing the creamsicle throwback white jerseys. They've already announced that for week 3. Like the most winnable game to me seems Miami in Miami, because when you want to play in Miami, it's later in the season or at night. And again, it's still going to be hot as heck, but playing at 8:00 at night in Miami is a whole lot better than playing 1:00 in Miami.
That's a hitting
late
gift.
September.
That's a hitting gift, right? Because it's 1:15 on the visitor sideline. It's 85 on the home sideline. So that's a little hidden gift, which we normally don't get.
Yeah. And I also feel, too, there might be a chance the Jets just stay in Florida that whole week. They're down there in Tampa. They might just stay for the week in Florida for practice. I would look into
they got the extra day with
that's true. That's true, too. I didn't factor that in. I will say, though, for the rivalry jerseys, are they wearing – this is the thing I'm confused about with this whole thing.
It's your home game only, I believe.
Okay, it's just the home game, because the way they made it sound is they were going to wear against each other. And, again, my first thought was, so – we have dark green versus black. How's that going to work?
Yeah, you wear it in your home game.
Right.
Also, the jerseys and the helmets that the Jets have, I think it's a crime that we don't have a home night game for that.
Yeah.
I think it's an absolute crime. That's a 1:00 on a Sunday game. If you're going to promote these jerseys and the helmets, put them under the lights where they look better.
Thursday night game, Monday night game. Like
you want to make it a rivalry game?
Yeah.
You want to promote these jerseys? You put them on a nationally televised game. Throw them on a Thursday in September on a Thursday night. But that's just the NFL just trying to rob people with $200 jerseys, which will probably be the price of these things. If not,
yeah, I'm always a fan of the throwbacks though. But I do think the Jets rivalry was pretty good. Some of them I just like so many jerseys. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get bright, colorful jerseys, and 5 of them are just black jerseys. I'm like, okay, really thinking outside the box there. But getting back to the Jets, and again with this coaching staff too. The big thing we're going to watch for is the penalties. I know that's been a huge issue for the last couple of years. That's something that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. I just feel like the Jets are going to be silent. They're not going to make the maddening error, or even if they make a mistake, it's from being aggressive. Where, yes, last year the defense wouldn't necessarily break and give up a giant play, but they'd be getting 7 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, just going down the field for a 12-play drive. Where I think this defense, I know you saw in the preseason against the Giants, Sean had the blown coverage for the 80-yard play. You're going to see a couple of those, but I'd rather have a big play happen because you were being aggressive and trying to create something than just laying back and letting a team just walk down the field on you and just put up points where you're like, okay, we know they're not going to blitz. We know they're not going to bring pressure. And I will say 2 players I'm really excited about this year are Jamien Sherwood and Quincy Williams, because they do their best work coming downhill fast. Yeah. Like, I could see a world where one of them is a double-digit sack guy, just because I feel they're going to be used as a lot of rush, and they're going to be, okay, where's Jermaine? Where's Quinnen? Where's Will McDonald? And then forget about Sherwood or Quincy, and they just come right up the middle like a bat out of hell.
Yeah. I would love as a team, like I said, I don't care who gets it. I want to see 60 sacks as a team. Like, if we're getting that pressure and we're blitzing continuously, that's going to come with turnovers because quarterbacks are going to get rid of the ball quicker because they know the pressure is getting home. And now you can jump routes on the back end, right? So there's so like, real quick, just to get this in.
Yep.
When we were going with the schedule, the beginning of the schedule, the first 8 games, right? I look at it as 4 mini seasons. You got Pittsburgh and Buffalo coming here, win one. Like, win this game. Then you go to Florida for back-to-back. Win one. Then you got Dallas coming in, who we play well here. Even when we're bad, we play. We beat them the year we had Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson, and no one else can remember anyone else on that starting offense from that year. We beat them.
Well, also, I think Dallas isn't going down by a fight because I think a lot of us were just expected them to get their doors blown out last night by the Eagles, and they actually made it a great game. So I'm curious to see how long they're able to keep it together, especially after the Parsons trade, because I do think that's going to have an impact in that locker room.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then you got Dallas and Denver, win one. And then you got Carolina, and then you go to Cincinnati. If, let's say we do that, right? Say we take Pittsburgh, we win in Miami, and then we take the Dallas game here, right? Now you got Carolina. You're 4-3. Unexpectedly 4-3, right? Now you go into Cincinnati before the bye. Cincinnati loves passing the ball. What's our strength on defense? It's going to be pass coverage, right? It's going to be the passing game, in my opinion. You throw everything out to try to win that game. If for some reason you can get the 5-3 at the bye, and then you come into the bye with those 2 back-to-back games, holy crap, dude. It's going to be bedlam in Jet World. So look at it as many. Take this. Obviously, you want to win every game, but realistically, we know that's not going to happen. So you don't want to have a losing streak, right? You want to get back on the win column as quick as you can. If you look at this little 2-win seasons and you're 2-2 and you're 3-3, that's already an improvement. I think a lot of fans are saying we won't win a game or 2 in the first 6 games. Okay, what if we do?
Yeah.
What if? And then we have that after the bye. It's a pretty favorable schedule, in my opinion.
Right. And Janowski 22. I'm a Steelers fan. I think Justin Fields' legs are the key for you guys to win. Our defense, as good as it may seem, usually is pretty weak against the run. And look, I think the Jets are going to lean on the run, and it's not going to be a secret. Like, the Jets are going to have to win with the run game. If Justin Fields has to throw 35 times a game, I'm sorry, they're not winning a lot of games. Although I am curious, I would love to see a stat where one team goes from one season to the complete opposite the next season. Jets were 32 in rush attempts last year.
Yeah.
I feel they're going to lead the league in rushing attempts. And I'll also throw a hot take out there and tell me if I'm a little bit crazy.
All right, I'm listening.
If Fields plays all 17 games, I think he breaks the single season rushing record for a quarterback. And here's why. Because
not the Jets. You're talking NFL?
NFL. Because what do you think the record is, and who do you think is held by?
Lamar, 1,100?
Yep, 1,206. And that was in 2019. Here's why I think it could be broken. Fields is second all time. He did in 2022 in only 15 games, 1,143 yards, which was 76 yards per game.
Yeah.
So if he leads the league in rushing attempts for a quarterback, which I think he can, and he can stay healthy, I think there's a chance he could be knocking on that record. And again, like, what were your projections? You said you were projecting over 1,000 yards for Fields. Yeah. I mean, one big run, like a 50-yard run, could be the difference in having the record or not.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm expecting big things in the run game. I know that's not exciting. People want to see 5,000 yards passing. A lot of those 5,000-yard passers don't win.
Yeah.
Controlling the clock, keeping your defense fresh helps you win. And like I said earlier, sure, we're going to talk statistics. But on Sunday,
Yeah.
I don't care if we run for 0 yards, pass for 0 yards, and we win 2-0 on a safety. We can fix all of it,
I'll
right?
take that. I'll
We
take
can
that.
if we walk out with a W,
Yeah.
who cares? You
That's what
have
I
the
care
week.
about.
It's easier to fix your problems off a victory than
Yep.
it is a loss.
Well,
So if we can stack victories and we can improve this team. Last year, we were bad in pass defense. We were bad in run defense. We were bad in run offense. We were bad in pass offense. We were
bad
bad
at
in
coaching, bad at kicking. Like,
yeah.
like it's easier to say
penalties.
what we were good
Every
at.
analytical category we were bad in.
Yeah.
If we can go from 32nd to 16 in penalties, I think that's much improved.
Yeah.
If we can go from worst offense rushing in the league to a top 5, much improved. If we can go back to a top 5 defense on both categories, maybe the run will be a little worse. But if you can get to top 5 passing defense again, I think everybody would sign up for that. And if you're showing the substance, like I mentioned earlier, you're showing that we're building it the right way. We're making improvements in key categories that lead to winning. If you can improve your time of possession by 5 minutes a game, I don't want to have our defense on the field 35 minutes a game. I want to be on the field 35 minutes a game.
Right.
These are all things that, for the most part, historically, lead to victory. So start to stack some of these categories. It's year 1 of a regime. Let's not forget that. We can't blame them for the past 15 years. Their line of demarcation is January. Now you build upon it.
Right.
And that's the key thing. The Lions did it with Dan Campbell. Nobody wanted to play the Lions the last 7 games of his first year. They were horrible. But you could see, they got something there. And that's the goal for this season for me with our Jets team. Build it, keep building upon it, and then make it even better in the offseason.
Right. And my final thought, Nick, for the show today, and again, like and subscribe his channel and my channel as well, so you can get amazing Jet content throughout the season. This is what I feel like I'm most excited about and what I think will be the most important thing about this team. The last time the Jets were great was under Rex Ryan. Why were they great under Rex Ryan? They had an identity.
Yep.
You knew what they were. You knew what they were bringing to the table. Win or lose, you knew that's what you were going to get from the New York Jets. And for the last 15 years, this team has severely lacked it. Yes, they've been good on defense, but what is their identity on defense? They didn't have one. And especially on the offensive side, the last 15 years, what has been the identity of the Jets? For 2 years, it was Aaron Rodgers is our savior. For years, it's let's hope we hit the lottery with a rookie and that they can save us and not have an identity. Hope is not an identity. The Jets have an identity now.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, they have an identity. You know what you're going to get on Sunday. You're going to get a team that's going to try to run the absolute air out of the football, and you have a defense that is going to turn up the heat. They might make a couple of mistakes on the back end, but especially if you're a quarterback, you're going to be under fire from the first whistle to the last whistle. And that, to me, is what's the most exciting, is for the first time in a long time, I know what I am getting from the Jets. Even if they win or lose, I know what they're getting, and I know what to expect.
Yeah. This is a foundational time.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the commitment to the trenches. You saw the commitment. They extended Sauce. They never even coached Jamie and Sherwood, and they said, we cannot let this guy hit free agency. We're going to pay him. We're going to keep him. You saw them go out and get the defensive tackles for the run game. They tried to get Noddy cheap. Didn't work out. But the sign of a good general manager is a mistake like Noddy used to be 3 years, $24 million, and then now it's there forever.
And you got a draft pick back for him.
You basically traded Phillips for Noddy, right?
Yeah.
So
basically,
you got better with basically a pick swap. Grant, it's 6 and 7, so
Yeah.
But the value and the approach I love. Like I said earlier, identify the weakness, address the weakness. Don't think and don't hope, right?
Yeah.
Fairly assess your team, know your weaknesses, and find ways to fill them. So I'm looking forward to this season because I think it's going to be the start of something really good. And in year 2, you're probably drafting a rookie quarterback. In year 3, you should be what the goal for me as a fan and as a content creator is in year 3, get the quarterback right, have the coaching staff, and get to a level where you're like the Ravens, the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, the Niners. Everyone is writing you in as a playoff team year after year after year. Now, granted, some injuries might happen down the road, but if you build it with the right substance and you're good in the trenches, you have a chance week after week. Because as much as we look at the Jets versus the Steelers, it's all individual matchups.
Mhm.
It's TJ Watt against Membo and company, right? It's Garrett Wilson against Ramsey. It's Brees in the open field on swing passes. There's individual matchups. Wilkes against Rodgers, Sherwood against Rodgers, right? It's all individual matchups that make up the accumulation of it. But if you can win some of those that we've lost in the past, that's a great start for the Jets, man. And hopefully, we'll get together again throughout the season, you and I, if not a couple times, and we'll check in and see. The guys I'm looking forward to on Sunday on Jake's show. I do a segment called Nick's Shining Stars. Obviously, I moved Tittman right to the top of the list with him going to guard. Will McDonald and Brees Hall as a receiver out in the open field. Because I believe Brees is going to be our third down go-to guy. And I think that can change the game. Because we all seen Brees. He caught a pass in the middle of the field against the Giants, turned it up the sideline, and took it 46 yards for a touchdown, I believe. He did it in Pittsburgh. He had the catch in Tennessee. He's a weapon, man.
Yeah, it only took 8 weeks for Nathaniel Hackett to realize he could actually catch, know.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. But
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It was going to be explicit. So
I'm giving those Jets PTSD flashbacks, basically.
F that guy. That's what I said. F that guy.
He's getting coffee somewhere in Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah,
so.
That's it. He's holding Rodgers' bags in the offseason.
Well, it was great having you on, Nick. I look forward to having you on later this season. Again, make sure to like and subscribe to both of our channels. Just to let you guys know, I will be coming live after the Steelers game this Sunday, giving our instant thoughts and analysis. So please come in. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss that. And, of course, check out Nick's show. And, again, Nick, thanks so much for joining us here. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating Sunday night, but we will have a lot to talk about this upcoming season.
Yeah, I am. I'm doing a watch-along. So 12:30 p.m. Sunday, come check out my channel. I don't like Steelers fans. I don't want to be around them. I will not go to the game. I don't drink anymore, so I can't deal with certain groups of people. And the Steelers are up there. The Cowboys are up there. So I will be doing a watch-along. Stop in, say hello. Let's go Jets, baby.
Yeah, I'll make sure to join you for that watch along. And again, I will make a note. You will not be at the Steelers game and you will not be at the Cowboys game. All right, fair enough. All right, Nick, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Rich Sports Talk, guys, and we'll see you after Sunday.